Welcome back to some professional StarCraft 2, a preview of the Global StarCraft League Finals. These two players have met over 100 times, and what's one more? Besides a few more great games for the fans. Now let me first introduce one of the strongest, if not the strongest, Protoss in the world. Almost as strong as his chiseled jaw and charming, steely demeanor. Of course, from Dragon, Phoenix, Gaming, it is Zest. And then, the hardest working player in StarCraft 2, grinding his way since 2012 in Code S, finally achieving the GSL Code S Finals for the second time, facing his teammate there and here in the Team AlphaX Brawlers Club. It is, of course, the People's Terran, Cure. Fun fact, in Legacy of the Void, Cure has won, not participated in, won 209 smaller tournaments. Those are tournaments that are like online cups, ESL Open, and yes, that's over several years. But I'd be hard-pressed to find another player in triple digits. He plays more pro games to some extent than most players play ladder games. And while he is not a flashy player, his fundamentals, okay, his tenacity, and his relentless commitment to relentless macro is what's got him this far. We'll see if it gets him a little bit further. Alright, kicking things off. It's a best of 5 here in the Brawlers Club. Not quite as prestigious as the GSL, but Team AlphaX's, I don't know if it's a weekly tournament, but it features a group stage match. Also in the group Beyond. And someone else who we don't care about as much. Zest versus Cure, though. That's where we are. And Cure moves out to intercept the Adept. These players near 50% in matches played in Legacy of the Void. Near dead even in the actual games as well. Though their series go a couple different directions. One, you have Zest in full form. Like he's got his favorite hoodie or jersey. He's decided to take the jacket off. And he gives Cure a run for his money and usually wins out in the early and mid-game style ones. The other option is Zest just is kind of phoning it in. Widowmines kill dozens of probes. Cure builds a solid army and walks across the map. that one we've seen a bit too. Of course, sprinkled in pretty heavily are the proxy racks, the proxy gates of differing varieties, star or otherwise. This game, though, we're on Romance's side. Yeah, I made it 4 minutes without talking about this game. Can I get a like and subscribe? Next time I'll try to beat it. Romance's side, the most standard. Cloud Kingdom 15.0. Alright. You got your safe 3 bases. Very hard to attack in on, too. You're going to have a tough time really getting anything done once they have an entrenched position. But of course, there are ways around that, and both players are going to try to exploit it. Cure, to absolutely no one's surprise, and hopefully not Zest, is doing a Widowmine drop. Whereas Zest is going to go for, I believe this is 4-gate Blink. The Widowmine tries to retarget on some probes, looking for an opportunity. Zest doesn't quite manage to blink out of the mine, such as it is. With the Warp Prism or with the Blink. So Cure buys himself a bit of time, picks up a Stalker. He will now know, obviously, it is Blink and it is a 4-gate. So this is usually the best way to put on some pressure against a player who is kind of bare bones on the units. Like Cure is not going to have a bunch of Marines and Marauders for a while. It's a bit of an investment to produce out of the factory in the starport without slapping those add-ons on. Cure is taking this very seriously. Multiple bunkers on the low ground, one on the high ground, tank on the way, Raven chilling. Cure is not underestimating the power of Zest Stalkers. Though he may be underestimating the low... Does Cure not see it? He sees it, but Zest just blinks around him. And there's really not that many units here. The interference matrix for the Prism could be a little dicey. Zest blinks out. The tank and enough Marines. You don't really want to lose the Stalkers at this stage. You want to keep map control. Though Zest isn't even thinking about a third. He hasn't slapped down a third yet. He actually has less workers now. So this indicates he wants to keep going on this front, which is a bit risky, as multiple tanks are on the field. Alright, Cure does not have stim, and without the tank support, his bio army is just not enough. Zest just keeps warping in. Cure not gonna bite, not gonna poke the tiger here, such as it is. Oh, blink around. The bunkers are not full, but there are two of them. He blocks out of the tank. He's going for the Marines. Big commit out of Zest. Still a Warp Prism in the main. Both tanks... Well, the both remaining tanks were in the main. The turrets gonna force Zest eventually back. So, the Prism... Will we warp in some more Stalkers? Zest still working both angles here. Still mostly superficial damage to Cure. He hasn't... Notice how he built his buildings, by the way. He essentially had a no man's land where he could fight the Stalkers without risking any of his infrastructure. How many times has a Blink Stalker semi-all-in gotten extra damage because it picked off Stim, or Combat Shield, or a Reactor on a starport? Cure been down this road a few times before. He's taking notes. He's got them on his little map he brings out of the glove compartment. His kid's like, hey, Dad, you know we have GPS. He's like, I like it this way. And well, guess what? GPS isn't working because the satellites are broken. And guess what? Now we take out the map and we say, this is how you deal with Blink Stalkers. It's like, Dad, you're rambling again. Don't speak to... Shh. The War Prism at the back, pinned by bio units until a Viking can come along and finish the job. Zest has begrudgingly taken a third, which is him admitting that this game may go over 10 minutes, and that's really going to screw with his schedule of doing anything else, which is many times what I think it feels like he prefers to do. The Stalkers working their way up, but all of them are bruised except one, and many of them are a strong talking to away from dead. Cure, on the other hand, finds himself with a little more army supply. He doesn't have he does have a third command center down. His worker count is pretty solid. He's just a handful behind Zest, and that's after losing a few. Widowmine drop heading towards the main. The Stalkers aren't there. Widowmine drop a little later on. The Stalker's completely out of position. This leaves the third base exposed. There's still a Widowmine back there. Cure. Not really a bait and switch, but just the 1-2 punch. One Colossus ain't gonna cut it. He scrambles the first one. Zest, gotta be a little careful. The other one rallied into the tanks. Oh no! The second Colossus not even able to participate until well into the fight, and right now, shield battery overcharge doesn't seem like it's gonna be enough. One Colossus isn't cutting it. The Nexus has its shield stripped away. Another interference matrix puts that Colossus in timeout and puts the Nexus down and puts a win on the board. Cure with a decisive victory in Game 1. Zest not able to find the angle with the Stalkers, and Cure just waits him out. Just a pretty classic exchange. That was Zest really trying to get the win there. Playing a longer game on Romanticide. He was very reluctant to go for that third. And I think if he continues down that particular road, Kira's going to take advantage of it. Like, he'll wait for his moment, and then he'll hit you. Hard enough. Well, let's see if Game 2 follows the trend. Like, okay, Zest. So, I think he is unique in this. He sends the probe out religiously. Maybe not in PvP, but he sends the probe out at the beginning of the game. That's just what he does. He just gets up in your grill with his probe. 35 seconds. The depot isn't even done. Like, he did this last game. He does this most games. He's just that kind of person, okay? Just cuts in front of you in line, waiting for your frappuccino, pumpkin spiced. He says, "Mind if I stand here?" And you're like, "I don't speak Korean. I don't know what to say to him." And it's awkward. Like, I don't... Probe, the ultimate duel. I mean, if the probe gets a kill, that's... If you kill the probe, I feel like it's not nearly as much of a victory. Like, if you kill the probe, it's a sigh of relief, and Zest has to acknowledge it. But if the probe kills an SCV, on the other hand, that is critical mental damage right there. Gonna just... He's been here. The probe has been here longer than it has. It's so annoying. Like, Jimmy, get the binder out. Yeah, yeah. The probe one. Zest understanding physiology. Better than most. I'd like to discuss it with him. Is that? No, that's a second command center. I don't know why. I thought it was a third. Middle of the road again. No proxy racks. A Twilight Council. Not discouraged. Honestly, I think if Zest had pulled that back into a third base, or found maybe a bit of a better angle, it felt like 3/4 committed on the blink all in into a third. It really wasn't supposed to be a third, but Cure just, like, almost nobody will make 2 bunkers. Another thing I've noticed about Cure, he doesn't salvage his bunkers. How many times have you seen a Terran move out like, "I need those 75 minerals, bro"? 1.5 Marines is more important than having a significant amount of extra protection against anything. Like, walking out, salvage the bunker, blink stalkers blink in, you're like, "Oh my god, I can't believe he did that." Well, not Cure. At least the vast majority of the time. You might be like, "Winter, he salvaged that last game." Well, that was the exception. Only a handful of you were probably paying close enough attention, because I wasn't. And he damaged all the blink stuff, so. Cure with a... Ooh, he's suspicious. Looking for stargates and pylons. This time Zest is just gonna skip the units altogether and take a third. This is the other side of the spectrum here. 2 gates, blink, 3 stalkers, and an adept, as well as a nexus halfway down. His nexus is gonna finish by 5 minutes. Just about. Obscenely greedy. But a man of extremes. Whereas Cure is... He's not doing the same build as last time. It's not a Widowmine drop. It is a 3-rack stim with no starport. He has +1 on the way. Starport just now starting. I'm not sure if he's going to wait. Like, this is a very anti-blink build. Has he not seen? He saw the third Nexus. This is... If Zest did the same build as last game, Cure would be able to defend and immediately punch back. But the kind of awkward part here is that the medevacs are somewhat delayed. So the third base is already done. And Zest will be receiving the benefit from it, as well as being able to overcharge and warp in nearby. Thing is, Zest has just 2-gate Blink Stalker, which is just not that many units. He's put together 9 Stalkers and a Warp Prism. Oh my god! The Marine was standing on the mine! The least effort, but the most reward! He kicks out the Prism. He only made 1 Widow Mine this game. So his efficiency ratio is insane. Killing a Prism full of units. Well, Zest once again finds himself. There are 2 options for Zest. Either uncomfortably all-in or uncomfortably greedy. Either way, you're going to be a little uncomfortable. He's perfectly fine, but I'm... Like, he has 6 Stalkers. It's 41 to 15 army supply. He can only warp in, like, 3 or 4 Stalkers at a time. He has no unit. Well, let's see. There's not even a shield battery at the third. For some reason, Zest has 61 probes. Combat shield kicks in. Cure has +1. Warp Prism just going off into the distance. Cure is playing remarkably cautious. I don't think he expects Zest to have such a... He was expecting a shield battery, I bet. Like, there is no shield battery. The shield battery is usually the backstop. But without, like, he's building another pylon. And another page. This is a no shield battery challenge. I can't believe he doesn't have a shield battery over here. He's got 900 minerals. Build a battery, Zest. Oh my god. Okay. You're welcome. Pro tip. So, Cure did not salvage the bunker. The Stalkers killed it, but Cure did not rebuild it. And now these charge lots having a tough time finding too much, but Cure stutter stepping forward, looking for opportunities. Meanwhile, the charge lot's getting some damage done. They're unupgraded, though. Another Immortal down, and another one. Cure handling it on both fronts, and suddenly a 20 supply lead. And a probe was there as well. So Zest has no units. These are his only units. The one he's warping in right now, no upgrades and no units. Yeah, like, well, that's what happens if you don't build any gateways. Is there any way? He does have a shield battery. Overcharges it. He has a ton of money in the bank. And now 9 gates. Like, it's just warp it in. The shield battery, even with overcharge, isn't enough. What? What? Yeah, but he had no units. Well, he can get the... Cure might be able to just get the Robo, which is convenient. Oh, Cure! Unburrows the mine. What a play. The Warp Prism is still chilling. There's one Zealot. Zest is actually hurting for warp-ins right now. He's not hurting for... And Cure backs off. What? He defended. Between the warp-ins at the back and a confident Blink Micro at the front. Well, Zest still banking 1,200 minerals as he lost the Robo, so he can't even throw Immortals in. He's getting a Templar Archives, but he could use like 4 more gates. Another Robo on the way. He has 0/0 upgrades against 1/1, so his gateway units, which are already mediocre on their own, are even worse. I don't think he has any... He has 1 sentry, because Guardian Shield has incredible value. But just this brute force stock Stalker and Zealot composition. He's now finally getting +1. Cure just finished his armory. So a whole lot of... He started +2. The Terran player potentially looking at a 3 upgrade lead if he starts armor. I don't know how Zest always finds himself in these situations. Well, the charge lots are just running around. Cure walking up with what should be a deadly army. There is no storm. Field battery overcharge helping out a lot. Widowmine just connects. But here come like 20 charge lots into the third. Is Cure equipped to deal with this? Shield battery overcharge doing a lot to slow this down. But the charge lots just cleaned everything up. Either Cure was supply blocked or his No, he was a little supply blocked. So no reinforcements were coming out. Zest is down 40 supply, but their Zealots all up... the Zealots aren't incredible. They keep finding damage over here. Meanwhile, Cure's looking for the win. Storm is done, but there's so many medevacs. He's going to be hard-pressed to actually kill anything, because the medevacs don't quite out-heal Storm, but there aren't that many Storms. The Zealots are still slaughtering all these SCVs, which is not great. An Immortal, Widowmines, Liberators. Alright. Zest holding on for far too long for someone who at one point had 0 army supply. But Cure on match point. Not as dramatic of a series so far as I was hoping for, but this is kind of your typical Zest versus Cure. You don't know what you're going to get. Right now, Zest really wants to end the game on Blink Stalkers. And Cure understands how to deal with that. So Cure 2-0. What? It's only been... Okay, next game. Game 3. We're going straight in. Like and subscribe. I'm sorry. Oh, God. No, don't do that. I was trying to gasp dramatically, but that's a bit... No. Stay hydrated. Alright. No probe at the beginning of the match. Zest liking having minerals at the beginning of the game. And he scouts off of Gateway like a normie. Cure, on the other hand, is looking like a 1-rack expand, which is... I mean... It's a 1-rack expand. We've been here before. Zest. Gonna discourage those SCVs. So we'll just take a little bit of time. Always fun to remind people, why do pros do this? So the mineral patches have a brain. Very small brain though, but they do have a brain. The mineral patches actually whisper to the workers. They whisper in their ears or whatever ear parts they have, and they say, "Hey bro, I'm taken." Whenever anybody's licking up those minerals with their face parts, or whatever particular worker has. And it doesn't matter. Like, the mineral patches aren't owned by anybody. So if that probe whispers in the mineral patches here, like, hey, then the mineral patch, like, SCV, maybe you should look elsewhere. And that's why you'll see the little dance of people manually clicking their workers on. Because if you do it perfectly, and you flirt with enough mineral patches with your probe, you could deny the enemy dozens of minerals. Okay? Several dozens. If you do it perfectly. So, there you go. Something to spend that APM on. That's essentially what it is when, like, Trapper Zest is doing it. When a Diamond player does it, they are missing their second pylon, more than likely. But... Cure once again. Not rewriting the whole book of Terran here. In fact, drawing from the Old Testament of Terran, which is why build factory when barracks do trick. Not as effective when an adept just shades into your base because you weren't paying attention to your depot. Yeah. So this is one of those builds that isn't quite a cheese. Like, it's not quite a cheese because it can easily be a more macro-oriented build. But you really don't want them to see the 3 racks. Because now your options are, like, it's not going to be a mine drop. It's not going to be cloaked banshees. It's not going to be Hellions. It's going to be Marines, Marauders with Stim. In Zest, no matter how bare bones his defense, will now know exactly what he's dealing with. And we'll see where he cuts his corners this game. Essentially, the counter to this, a few well-placed shield batteries. If you know exactly what you're dealing with, you can place the shield batteries. The reason why well, Zest is building a shield battery to literally cover half of his bases. He'll probably build another one in the natural. Zest, don't make me a liar. But this way, he'll have an overcharge for his Blink Stalkers, and the Stim is permanent damage until the Medivacs come out, so. Yeah, letting the Adept in was pretty bad. That was, maybe don't let him watch you get dressed, Kira, I know. But, like, it's not healthy. But I want him to see my Stim pack. No, it doesn't sound how you think it sounds. Try rehab. So the Blink Stalkers will not kill this army, but if he can force out even one Stim from these units, that damage, like, there's not even a factory. He hasn't built a factory, so Starport is a long way off. Yeah, and Zest just blinks away, and he'll keep doing that. And by the time the army gets across the map, it'll be demoralized, half dead, and hurting for a Stim pack. Like, Kira already realized his mistake and is not stimming again. It's incredibly obvious to everyone involved what's happening here. Oh, this is sad. Okay. Alright. Well, the Stalkers are kind of just running them around. This is why people don't do 3 racks builds. Like, yeah. This is kind of just painful. He's just kneecap. Oh. Well. Yeah. Yeah. So there are some pretty significant weaknesses to the bio openers like this. And it looks like Zest is going to show us all of them. Well, where's that factory? Just finished up. 2 more racks on the way. Oh my. Maybe well, he can't really go home, because if he goes home, he's just going to get shot in the back. He'd much rather be shot in the front. So. This game, Zest has everything he didn't the last 2. Oh, I love this. The hallucinated Colossus. Because he doesn't have the army to win the fight against him, like on the open field. But if he did have a Colossus, he probably does. Look! Look at me! I'm real! I wonder if I think Cure realized. I don't... Okay. Yeah, alright. Get out of here. Oh... Shut up, Zest. I know you're not real. I can't believe he walked it forward. I bet that got a slight smirk out of Zest. Okay? Which is about the most emotion he's ever shown. Well. Yeah. The bio army is... It's like a bull here. And right now, Zest is the matador with his cape. It's like, oh, come stim over here, Mr. Terran. Force field. Stim over here. Blink. Stim right up the center. Oh, wait, I do have splash damage now. And then suddenly another matador appears behind him. And it gets real confusing. Zealots in the main. Zealots at the natural. Army running all over the place. SCV count dipping. He's just killing the armory. Oh, everything's terrible. And then most of the zealots just walk away. They just fuck right off. Okay. Well, so of that, so far this game, only 5 zealots have died. Oh my god, 23 marines, 7 SCVs, and 6 marauders. This is cyberbullying. And he didn't even need a cyber for most of it. Well, the one thing Zest could do here to lose the game is attack directly in. He's hallucinating the Colossus again. The force fields are good. I mean, oh, he just stands there. Well, that happened. Zest has decided if we're going to be here so long, maybe you should start winning games. And here we are. Interesting play. Just kind of... Well, that was... Here, give the keyboard back to your brother. And the mouse. Come on. Well, it's not 2012 anymore. We're not doing bio builds like that. What? Oh, time for a quick advertisement. Now that Zest has given us a game 4, thank you for watching. I will be right back. Hey everybody, I'm Winter, and I'm here to talk to you about badge and gun, and no severance. I'm here to talk to you about all the exciting things you can do to support content you love, or just content you like. Did you say like? Speaking of, you can like this video, and then you'll get more videos over there that are kind of like this. Or maybe not. Or maybe there'll be other people's channels, because that's how it works sometimes. I don't know. Nobody knows how it works, but it can't hurt. So, but wait, there's more with Prime Gaming. With Amazon Prime, you can connect with your smart toaster to Twitch TV, and subscribe to twitch.tv/wintergaming. Even though you can never catch me live because I'm actually a vampire, which explains a lot. But remember, if you don't use that Prime Gaming sub on cooldown every month, you're essentially losing money for me. So subscribe with Prime Gaming. You won't regret it. Terms and conditions apply. So thank you. If you do all these things, then... Thank you guys for sticking around. I know ads are confusing and annoying, but we gotta do our best to keep things going. Thank you for the support. Zest able to grab a dominant victory. Cure getting manhandled in game 3. tossed around and put right back down. So much he was seeing things, or maybe just hallucinating. Zest, I don't like... Well, you can't let the Adept in. At some point, that's essentially what Cure did, is he's playing poker, okay? And at the beginning of the hand, he just laid his cards on the table. And then the Adept and then he just, like, picked them back up real quick. Like, he saw it, bro. You know, he saw it. He knows. And that is your 3 racks. The strength of the 3 racks is if they don't know, like, since they can't see it early on unless they hallucinate something like a phoenix or get an observer, by the time they realize it's a 3 racks, they might not have the correct defense. The correct defense. Like, if you think it's a mine drop, you might be building observers, you might have stalkers in the main. And if you think there's a risk of Hellions or something, you might wall off the natural, which actually is good for a 3 racks play, because if you wall off the natural, like you think is Hellions, for example, then the Terran can get a concave outside your base. But if the Adept just kind of shades right in, none of that's happening. Zest with the almost unfair, like, not unfair, but casual defense, because there is only one thing you can do with 3 barracks. Is this the first Reaper? Trying to come in through the employee entrance, but he's in the wrong shop. Adept drives him back. That probe, I think... Oh my god. 1 HP from its harassment earlier. Poking and prodding at the SCVs, and still survives. Cure back to the classics here. We don't mind. He tried his barracks play. Looks like it's going to be a Widowmine drop into... well... I think we'll do the first part, and then we'll see where we end up. That usually is how it goes. Widowmine drop, like if the medevac gets shut down and the Widowmine's with it, well then Cure probably outright loses to a Blink counterattack. Blink's already on the way across the map, and the medevac gets in, kills a few probes. Then we're in some weird middle ground. If Cure is able to slap down any sort of high ground vision and defend the Blink, while still poking with Widowmines, well then Zest is in trouble. But Zest, ever since Zest stopped trying to do either like, game 1 was just a 2-base all-in, and game 2 was about as, like, you can't not have any units. I'm still, every time he does that, I'm sitting there, because, like, 1 out of 3 times it works. He's just like, I will defend with only Warpins. But the other 2 times it looks pretty dumb. What? That Reaper slipping through the grass, somehow evading multiple stalk. Well, okay, there's a lot going on here. The Reaper drawing the stalkers away, which might give the Widowmine drop an opportunity to get damage done. Nothing has been lost yet, but there's a lot going on. Oh, well, Blink's done. Well, now Cure knows too. That was optimistic. He's gonna just burrow. But a Reaper. The Reaper is probably his best chance of getting damage done at this stage. What do we got in the main? Sieges up a tank. Gonna try to delay things. Surprised he actually used the auto turret there. Meanwhile, a few stalkers in the natural. Gonna shave off the Marines. Loses a stalker though. I mean, and there's also... He's like trying to use a scalpel to carve a pumpkin right now. And like, you can technically do it. It's just gonna take a while. We got a few stalkers and an adept. Comes in. 4 stalkers, enough to one-shot SCVs. Yeah, a few more gates in the main. We're gonna see the surcharge a lot explosion. That's going to bring Zest to 8 gates here. A scan will tell Cure nothing he doesn't already know. I guess the 2 gases are a little tell. Widowmine drop. Looking for opportunities. The probes kind of got to chill for a bit. But unburrowing, reburrowing, buying time. Was there an armory? No. Well, that did not go great. I think, like, this is literally Zest playing the game the way he knows how to play it. Zest was trying to get some cheap... I'm gonna say cheap. He's gonna try to get some cheap free wins in matches 1 and 2. But this is the correct way to do it. You can take notes on this one, not the first 2. Blink to control the map and keep Cure busy, while also negating the Widowmine drop with a relatively quick third before 5 minutes. Followed up by charge lots and +1, getting 8 gates around 60 probes, and then just warping in. Cure has been chilling in his base now until 8 minutes, which is quite a time. And Zest has more than enough economy to continue producing, and he has the tech to potentially match it. Like, the big risk when you go for the mass gateway unit style is eventually the Terran gets so many units that the charge lots don't do enough. Like the ball of bio, the bio ball, if you would, just gets so large the surface area isn't there. But now Zest is like, Cure can't move out of his base. Feels like we're playing 2 entirely different series. They just switch. Actually, Zest and Cure. That was Cure playing Protoss the first 2 games, okay? And now... Well, does Zest have enough charge knots? There's no storm. He has a lot of Templar. Charge better be Chrono Boost. It is. There's still a lot of bio here, but he shaved off... Oh, no! Disaster! The Raven was the most important piece of this. Anything the Raven adds would have been key here. Storm is still 10 seconds off, which is 10 very, very, very long seconds. Storm is finishing. He storms. He just finished. The charge lots come in from stage left or right. I don't know how that works. It looks like Zest may have enough with warpins to clean this up, but that 10 seconds on Storm. Imagine if the Raven had done anything besides dying. Zest was at a real risk of losing the game during this window. But the Raven got sniped off. The Storm finished barely, and Archon exists, and now Cure struggling to match the brute force of this army. Yeah, Zest a little... Oh, there you go. So, maybe, like, that's one of those games where you're like, really, Cure? But he's never going to get a better attack. Storm is done. Zest still has the same economy. He's just going to have the same thing, but disproportionately more. And that attack went about as good as it could go, besides the Raven. So, at the end of the day, the Widowmine drop shut down the economy, solid. And with it, Zest is staring down, well, Zest's taken 2 in a row, and it's looked pretty easy. Well, based on how the games have been going, that means Game 5 is going to be incredible. All right? Games 1 and 2, not close, a little closer. And then 3 and 4, not close, a little closer. So this should just be the best game we've ever seen between these two. So stay tuned and optimistic. Jimmy! Cure, I'm noticing Cure with a significant amount of buildings in his own base. Cure's been finding a lot of success through tournaments with building at least some of his buildings not in his main. I maybe would have liked to see that now, but alas. Of course, you don't want to give away all your builds. This is a pretty high-profile tournament, though. Honestly, he plays with Zest so much, the cheesiest play might be no cheese at all. I've noticed Zest hasn't done anything. Zest has not proxied really anything. He's not gone for anything. Like, the closest we got to cheesing was the 4-gate blink. And that's more all-in than cheese. Like, if you know 4-gate blink is coming, that doesn't mean you shut it down. Whereas if you know 3 racks bio is coming, you do. That's the difference there. It's how much value do you gain by knowing exactly what your opponent is doing. And with Blink Stalkers, like Blink Stalkers in the hands, in the precise and strong hands of someone like Zest, are an effective tool. And it doesn't really matter if you know they're coming. There's only so much you can do in the early mid-game. Whereas we saw what happens with the bio bill. Oh my. Oh, that was rough to watch. Ugh. Well, looks like we're gonna do a pretty standard opener again. Twilight, Zest? Shall we have another Twilight? Three, 2, 1. Yes, we shall. 5 for 5. Cure's doing 3 racks again. Do not let the adept in. This is looking like an all-in on the blank as well. Wait, so this is kind of fighting fire with fire. No. This is, Cure's doing an early 2-base timing against Zest, who's doing an early 2-base timing. On this is peak Zest. Oh my god, no! For the first time and the last time, Dark Shrine. Oh, Zest is not afraid. He's shown Blink every single game. But game 5, DTs. He's a killer. He takes the biggest risk for the largest reward. Cure is not walling off the natural here. He's not even using the NG Bay for it. I mean, I don't know if that NG... There's a very high chance of an anti-climax here. And of course, that would be disappointing for everyone involved. But if Cure simply doesn't have a turret or scans, he essentially just loses. Like, if he thinks this is Blink and is convinced, and he doesn't build a turret or save... Okay, alright. Like, it's still kind of rough. There's a gateway over there, so he's warping it. Oh. Well, there's no units here. The DTs are hitting so quick. Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, let's go to the cure cam. Cure. Like, oh no. At least there's no third. Okay, well, he cleans up what he can. He lost 14 SCVs. And it's not like he can really attack in, because there could be DTs. There's batteries, like... He knows there's a pylon on the other side. That's something he can maybe deal with. So it's not the end of the game. It's not great, because now we're in that same scenario. It's a little better for Cure than it was. But we're in that same scenario where Zest, he managed to scrape out... It was only 2 DTs. He got Blink, and he knows that Cure does not have medevacs. He was in the main. He saw how far along the factory was. So he knows there won't be medevacs for quite a while. Every stim is permanent damage, and every stalker shot. So now he can run circle and teleport circles around him. There isn't quite the, I mean... Well, did he kill all the Marauders? Oh, the Marauders are in the main. Okay. The rest of the Marauders... Is that just... What do you do? What? Oh my god! He blunks on him! Have some respect! I give respect to those who deserve it. Oh my god. He doesn't... He just... Cure desperately stims the other direction, cancels the third. But right now, Zest is big on canceling Cure. There's no way Cure breaks the natural. That medevac finally pops out. Oh, and he just blinks out. Oh, come on! He's literally blunking around the map right now. And Cure tucks his Marine's metaphorical tails between his very real and slow legs. You gotta pull the boys. You gotta pull the boys. I think, right? Well, okay, wait. He did cancel the third. He's going to have, like, it's 1-1. No, it's +1. Yeah, actually, Zest's going to have +1. There's not going to be a huge upgrade advantage. He does have medevacs. He has upgraded bio against just stalkers. And I'm like, well, that should win. But Zest has defended attacks larger than this with no units. Asterisk, but like... Okay, if he gets another cancel or kill on the third, that evens this out. But if he's not able to do that, then Zest is gonna skyrocket. He is going to be pulling incredibly far ahead. This is Cure's opportunity here. This is it. Guardian Shield. The Zealots are kind of stuck. Oh no, you can't leave! I'm not locked in here with you, Cure. Oh my god. He just blinks in. +1 finished after the fight. Zest doesn't need it. Zest down 2-0. And then just flips a switch here. Cure forced to retreat again. No economic damage that time. Like, no cancel. No probes killed. A handful of stalkers. Cure still has more army supply. It just never feels like it. It's not a huge advantage, though. It's enough that shield batteries, guardian shield, all these fancy spells can make the difference. Alright, I think we're getting down to it. This DT kind of, well, the boys! The DT, I don't know if it was because of the DT or in spite of it, But the boys are pulled. That Colossus is very real. The SCVs are almost here. There's not that much energy on the sentries. One Colossus isn't enough to stop this in its tracks. It is enough to slow it down. The shield batteries are in production. This is it. The final battle. The SCVs, you're not going home again. Cut down immediately. Widowmine's trying to close the distance. Shield battery overcharge. Holding the line. Force field dictating the pace of the fight. Colossus eliminating the Marines in the front. The Stalkers helping with the Marauders. And Cure is forced to retreat once again. But there's nothing left at home. He picks up into the medevacs. But there's an observer. Directly, he scans the observer. Oh no! X-ray vision. But no, what are you gonna do? He picked up. Zest blinks, takes out a full medevac. He's had enough. But then Cure drops on top. Zest may have blunked one step too far. The army supply is still close enough to even to make this dramatic, but extended thermal lance is about done. There's no going back now. Almost nothing in that medevac. Is there any chance Cure is able to hold the ramp? The charge lot's trying to come up. He has to hold the ramp, but the DTs close in. The charge lots close in. The Stalkers close in. And Zest closes it out. Zest rips away the 2-0 and turns it into a 3-2. And yes, each of those games got a little closer, but not remotely close enough. Zest showing he is not intimidated. It just makes it more interesting for the fans. All right, you got to lose 2 for the fans. And then you got to get your ad breaks in. Thank you, Zest. Very, very thoughtful of you to support the stream and the content by making sure we had those extra games. Thank you, Zest. And thank you, Cure, for once again, as always, putting on great games for the fans. If you agree. Well, one, who do you think is going to win the Global StarCraft League? And if you're watching this afterwards, I just assume Cure versus Zest will be GSL from here on out, even if I'm excited for this one. Either way, like, subscribe, ring the bell. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. I'll see you soon. Stay chill.